Just setting the context here, everybody. India's manufacturing sector is evolving rapidly, employing nearly 2 crore people and contributing nearly 17% of India's GDP. And this growth is propelled by initiatives like Make in India, and now recently you've got production linked incentives as well. And the aim here is to boost domestic manufacturing and employment. And now, even more recently, we've got ELI schemes as well, which is employment linked incentives, similar to how we had PLIs. As the sector embraces automation and digitalization for the new age, the role of leaders becomes pivotal in reskilling and upskilling the workforce to adapt to these changes. In this background, we've chosen to dive deep into this topic of transforming people's strategies in established sectors with a focus on manufacturing. So, here the challenge lies in balancing technological advancements with human capital development to ensure sustainable growth and job creation. Amid these transformations, how are changing consumer demands and emerging business models influencing the types of skills and talent that organizations now need? And how should HR strategies evolve to meet these shifting requirements? So, to share his wisdom and experiences gained over nearly 4 decades, we have Mr. Sunil Ranjhan with us, who's the CHRO of Dixon Technologies, and he has had a stellar career over the last 4 decades, like I was saying, where he's been in HR leadership positions in manufacturing, services, and consulting industries at plant, region, and corporate level in leading MNCs across India and the Asia Pacific region. Out of the 38 years of experience that he has, 15 plus years has been with Honda in Japan, India, and Thailand. His specialties are, among several, a few key ones are training, leadership development, performance management, OD and change management, international people practices, associate relationships, and many more. Sunil sir, thank you so much for taking time out to join us today in this conversation.
Thank you, Bala. Thank you, Bala, for having me with you. Yeah.
All right, sir. So, just a small introduction about what we do here. We are the India Employer Forum. It's a not for profit community site that seeks to discuss, understand, and document different aspects of employment, particularly employment, employability, and ease of doing business in India as the next 20 plus years unfold to India at 100, promise huge changes. Teamly serves as the knowledge partner, contributing their expertise, insights, resources, and research findings while actively supporting IEF's events, webinars, and other initiatives. So, with this context being said, Sunilji, so first things first, you've spent nearly 4 decades observing how the world of work has evolved both in India and abroad, from traditional hiring practices to today's dynamic talent landscape. And COVID has just thrown several more things into the mix as well now. So, from your experience, how have these changes shaped the way organizations these days attract, engage, and retain talent?
Well, Bala, just to tell you, the basic fundamentals remain the same. Organizations still want the best of the talents. They would want to retain best of the people, and they would like to reward best of their the their high potential people or those people who are contributing to the business. So that was true maybe 40 years back. That is true today, and that's going to be the basic gospel for even the coming decades till the time business is there. So while the fundamentals remain the same, the things that which have changed, according to me, there are basically three shifts which have happened. The first is the employees' expectations. Earlier, when say 40 years back, when I came, people were looking for stable jobs, government jobs, PSU jobs. My parents used to say, there's only three kind of jobs. Either it is in rail, ya sarkar, that means government, or tar means post. So that was the concept which my parents gave it to me. But today, that concept, now today, people are looking at jobs. Probably this pecking order has changed. People are now more than stable jobs. They're looking at jobs which will give them a meaningful role. So that is one change which I see happening. People are now more open for roles where they are able to express themselves, where they're able to bring in whatever is of interest to them, where they see themselves growing and living their whole life in that jobs. So that is one shift. which has happened. Second shift, which organizations are seeing, is in terms of the technology surrounding how we are hiring or how we are retaining or how we are recognizing the talent. So, from the good old days of putting ads in papers, today the talent pool is being brought to us not only from the newspapers, but it is more you're relying on social media, you're relying on uh, your job portals, you're relying on more on word of mouth, more on referral. So today, the whole ecosystem, how the talent gets to know about a job, has totally changed. Earlier, the lead time for example, from deciding to hire till the time you start getting people interested in your jobs would be say 15, 20 days a month. But today that
Hmm.
happens in days. I put an ad today in, and then I start filtering. So the total speed of onboarding has had a radical change and for the better. So that is the technology integration in the HR processes, be it for hiring, be it for shortlisting, be it for matching the job profiles with that of the job requirements. So you have technology doing it for you. Right. So
Right.
that part has been taken care of. Then the assessment part, how you are assessing your people. Okay. As we go forward, technology is getting integrated in that aspect as well. Okay. Today you have the various options or various programs or various applications which help you in assisting you while
Hmm.
you are trying to interview the people. So assessment, also technology is coming in, and then all your paperwork and the documentation has been taken care of, right? So
Yeah.
that's the second change which I've seen. And a third, which is it's a actually a more change in the competencies for which people are being hired.
Hmm.
Earlier days we would have a what we call as a straight jacketed job description, which would have, okay, so many years of experience, this kind of a qualification, and these kind of some job roles would be given. But today we are
Right.
not just looking for people for the current competencies, we are also trying to look for people for the future expected roles, or
Yeah.
how the world is going to shift, how technology is going to shift. So, say for example, for hiring for leadership, earlier one of my bosses used to say that the leaders whom you bring on board, they should understand their area, plus they should also understand the language of money, because money
Hmm.
is what. But today, I see it's not only you are hiring leaders for not only understanding the language of money, but also understanding the language of technology, how
Hmm.
technology can be leveraged for various options. So by and large, these three kind of radical changes have happened, and whereas the people who are wanting to join the organizations, they want flexibility, they want different options to be given, they want their recognition to be instant, they want uh, more communication. So the whole aspect of employee expectation and employer expectations have changed. That's how I see this space. And while retention is now not earlier, retention was seen in terms of length of service. Today, we are seeing retention more as breadth of experience. Those people who are bringing you the required experience that you want or the
Hmm.
skill sets you want, those are the people whom we want to retain. Those long service awards are getting replaced by skill awards. What kind of contribution awards that you're doing to the companies? So this is how I see this the human recruitment, retention, and this space changing.
That was a really comprehensive yet very sharp and insightful response, Sunilji. So no, I could relate to a lot of the things that you said as well. Most of all, the first point that you made, it's a very Gen Z thing as well. That I'm looking for a job which has a purpose, which adds some meaning to what I do in my life as well, something that reflects my values. That's a conversation I never thought would actually happen because growing up that was never really the case for us, right? We always looked at a job as a means to a career, which is an end and which could lead to bigger positions, more money, and stuff like that. But having meaning and purpose uh, to be driven through your job is a very new concept, really. And
Yeah.
that's happening only in the last 5, 7 years, maybe. Yeah. So
Yeah, so that
absolutely
shift
bang on.
has been gradual, but in the last 4 or 5 years, it has become
Yeah.
very, very perceptible. You
Yeah.
can see uh, earlier we would interview people. Today, the candidates, they also would want a lot of conversations very openly about your company culture. How do you recognize people? How
Right.
is performance rewarded? How is it going to be appraised? So those kind of conversations point to that the people are now more aware of what
Yeah.
they want actually.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely
Yeah,
with you on
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, so moving on, Sunilji. So in one of
yeah.
your LinkedIn posts, you have shared a very thought-provoking statement. Are you giving up on a person for whom you were their first choice to be with someone for whom you will be their third choice or fourth choice? Can you elaborate on this perspective and share the
Okay.
insights
Uh,
behind it?
okay. I got a lot of calls. Some it's a kind of a cryptic thing where the context I would like to explain. See, in organizations, whichever organization that you are, we have a set of people who are considered the high potential guys. The company wants them, and whenever there is best of the roles, they're given that. They're rewarded well. They're trained well. So these are the kind of people I call my first choice people, right? Some companies may call it their high potentials, or some people may call them your solid performers, or whatever nomenclature. I give them
Yeah.
my first choice employees because whenever something comes, when I have a new role, when I'm looking for a new leadership position, or I would like to give them opportunities for growth. So these are the set of people I consider. So now, what I have noticed in the last 4 or 5 years that a section of this population,
Mm.
they are getting swayed easily by certain external gratifications
Mm.
which come in their way. A company suddenly giving them a 70% kind of a jump, or kind of promising them the moon, and in terms of a lot of how should I give enticements given to them, and they go for it, not seeing the reality of what they are.
Mm.
What I mean is that they take up, they choose to go in a new place where they will be starting from ground zero. And sometimes I tell them, you're not even starting from ground zero, you'll be starting from the basement, because here you've already been recognized. The future is kind of pretty secure and pretty rewarding. You can see it. But there you're going to be starting from ground zero. So that's why maybe you may be the second choice, third choice, fourth choice. It's just a number. But the idea which I wanted is for people to, while they are making a job shift, evaluate how you are recognized, accepted in your current organization. That brand value, or it's like a brand, if you want to put a money to it, you can't put a value to that
Yeah.
recognition that you're going to get. So I want people to understand, do this evaluation. If you are a first choice employee, are you trading that being the first while being an ordinary citizen somewhere else? So just think about it, reflect about it, and then see. So that was the post was all about, and it was strange that you brought it out and you read that. So so it happened during a day, that day when I lost one of my employees who I considered was my first citizen.
Mm.
So that day I thought about just
Yeah. Yeah.
writing that post.
Yeah. No, no, I think you're absolutely bang on. We've seen this happen as well in many an occasion, and people leave only to realize that they were promised the moon, and the moon just turned out to be moonstone. And they wanted back in again, but unfortunately, we couldn't do it because we have certain cooling periods and stuff like that. But it's really unfortunate that people don't do a thorough enough evaluation, and they just look at certain superficial aspects and they just jump in. It's
Yeah.
meaningless. You're right. Yeah.
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 So what I always feel that uh, job change, it's a very it has to be a well thought out process. today we see people making comparisons with the batchmates and
Yeah.
right. If all the batchmates of Satya Nadella are to make a comparison, so 99.9% will feel demotivated. Obviously, you'll have outliers in any kind of comparison. So make your comparison for your own self, where you
Mm.
are, what do you want in life. Probably see things in totality. Don't see things in bits and pieces. So do a thorough evaluation, not only a monetary evaluation, do a cultural evaluation, do a fit evaluation, do your emotional evaluation, do the evaluation in terms of what is the future going to offer, where you
Yeah.
are and where you're going. So things like that. That's the whole
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. No, no, bang on. Absolutely with you on it. People just don't do it. I think they make hasty decisions based on one or two parameters, such as it could be money, it could be a title, and that's it. They jump. So,
Yeah.
which is very
So
sad. Yeah.
then I see the boomerang candidates
Yeah.
increasing. The numbers used to be pretty low earlier, but these days I find a lot of people within maybe 6 months of their leaving, they would
Yeah.
say, "Hey, I made a mistake." So things like that. So that was just a
Yeah.
kind of an
Yeah.
advice or
Oh, you're
a
right. Yeah.
reflection that
Yeah.
was mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 absolutely right. I'll remember this line as well. You're not starting from ground zero, you're starting from the basement, several levels below, maybe. Yeah, perfect. So in such an environment, so how do you think organizations can actually design leadership development programs that not only build capability for today, but to your point, uh, skills that are available in a person which will make them future ready as well? Uh, how do you think companies can do that on a sustained basis in terms of leadership development today then?
For this question, I would like to draw on from my working in Japan experience. See, typically, if you read any of the management books, you'll find that training is either classified as on the job training or off the job training in terms of how the inputs are delivered to people, whether it is at the shop floor level or whether he's a leader, right? So, but there is a third kind of section which the Japanese people say they call it OCT, on the chance training. That means uh, on the job, off the job, and third is
Mm,
on the chance. That is, if you want to really train your leaders in a given skill set or a business scenario. So rather than taking them to a classroom or taking them attaching them to some role, give them a chance to actually experience and immerse themselves in a given scenario. For
mm,
example, if you're wanting leaders to be trained in taking faster decisions, to be able to face more volatile situations, business things getting changed, so, if you have a good leader, put him in a geography which demonstrates some kind of a similar characteristics.
got it.
So, for example, throw them in a country, say, where the inflation is going 20%, 30% jump. So, so on the chance training is one thing which I feel if for any kind of a leadership development or a competencies you want to train your people on, immerse them in situations where they're going to get those kind of inputs, and from the
Mm,
back you support them in terms of whatever are the conceptual skills required, because that is one way. Second concept which I learned was the concept of shadow management. Like,
mm,
what is a shadow? Shadow is uh, a, always with you. When you walk, the shadow is there with you, so but you don't actually perceive it. So there one thing which I learned for grooming your leaders, the high potential people who were kind of selected for or identified, let me say, for future roles, who have
mm,
demonstrated good capabilities, so make them of a shadow of a person who's already successful and already doing. So what they do, they get attached to a group of the so-called your top leaders. So they become a shadow of that top leader for a given time period. whether they're going for their business meetings, whether they're going for their off party, the business dinners, or during presentation. So they're just like a shadow, trying to absorb how the leader is, for example, taking decisions. How does he evaluate the options? How does he
Mhm.
actually see a leader in action? So
Yeah.
that 1 week of an shadow management, according to me, is even much more worth than a month of a leadership inputs in a management institute of repute. So that is the second way. And third, which according to me is the kind of leaders. See, there you first need to identify who are my set of leaders who are actually hungry for development, who
Mm.
are hungry to learn new skills. Those leaders who volunteer rather than having a passive approach, identify those people who have that hunger for learning. You may call it learnability or their
Yeah.
whatever. So identify those people and then invest all your training initiatives, your leadership bandwidth, give them those experiences where they can learn those agile skills which are required for the
Mm.
coming business scenario, and give them all the support which is required. Let them fail, let them take up new roles, let them take assignments, let them take projects, make them a part of your most important and most compelling programs which are going on in the company. So they cannot be a better leadership academy than the real life experiences
Yeah.
that you can give them uh, wherever they are. And obviously, there would be certain skills and attach them with your leaders who become their coaches, who become their life coaches, they become their career coaches.
Mm.
So that kind of a immersive strategy is very good, which I find not good. That's a adjective. Very effective in training leaders, which are required for your kind of an organization, where your kind of a business context.
I think some of the new terms that you introduced, this on the chance training, and also you're saying that you can have a person as a shadow of the top management maybe, and those are unique things. I haven't really heard of that being implemented elsewhere, or at least labeled like this and done diligently as a strategy. They might do it um, on the off chance where it could be one person for whom they do it, but structurally, is this something that you see has been implemented somewhere successfully?
Actually, I did experiment this in one of my organizations. Like typically, when we were hiring the fresh management graduates from some of the top tier institutes of India. So during that time, the traditional approach would be, okay, take them through a management training program of 1 year or 6 months and give them the classroom input. So there, that year, we tried something different. We took this batch of about 7, 8 people. They were from the top colleges. Rather than putting them through an classroom or that kind of induction with the typical projects and all, we put them and attached them with our top leaders.
Got it.
Top leaders, starting from our CEOs, chief operating officers, CFO. So all the CXO positions, they had one of these boys or girls, whoever. So they were attached, and they became their shadow. And okay, that would be the main role. And on and off, we would bring them for structured inputs related to company business, the processes part. But what we found that these people, after 6 to 8 months, they had acquired those kind of skills, which probably people would take typically 4 to 5 years to kind
Wow.
of grasp. And these people, see, they are young. They're young. They're coming from colleges. They're already bright. They have a good pedigreed background qualification. So once they are put into that environment, they grasp things very fast. And then
Mm.
after a year, these boys were given kind of roles where they were handling teams and they were getting roles, either they're looking after a territory or they're looking after a function, and that became a kind of a regular practice, and I found that pretty effective.
To not just talk about this, but having personally done this firsthand at scale and deliver results, I think it's phenomenal. And it just makes so much sense. But um, I'm unable to understand why this is not being done on a broader scale, because even the established decades old companies in India have a traditional management trainee or maybe a graduate trainee program where they don't really get this kind of access to top management. They might actually get the odd session from the top management in the classroom format, but they don't really watch them in action. But I think watching them in action, that too for a sustained period of time, would probably make a huge difference. And as you said, could really fast track their growth and skills development as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this I've seen doing this has really been very helpful, because not only here, so here also we are doing it in a similar manner. But rather than making the management train start right at the bottom, we tell them, okay, your training inputs will start right from the top business leaders. So you get attached to your top business leaders of the company, including maybe our vice chairman, managing director. So they get
Wow.
associated with their offices, and during that process, that period, while they get a chance to be interacting with the top management and how they take the decisions, what kind of projects, how do they evaluate things, how do they sit in the meeting. So these trainees, when they sit in those same meetings, their learning is immense. And
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
yeah, they do well. They really learn a lot, much more than any traditional training program would give them.
Brilliant. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So, last but not the least, no discussion these days would be deemed complete unless there is a technology or AI angle to it. So, and we are no exception to it. So, as emerging technologies like AI and of course there is automation, as they change the nature of work, what kind of strategies do you think, Sunilji, organizations can adopt for reskilling and upskilling employees to turn the risk of job displacement, which is on everyone's minds these days, and rightly so, how can that be turned into an opportunity of growth, adaptation, and success?
Why is it organizations who have to think about how technology is going to disrupt the jobs, right? So for me, I tell my people, rather than organizations telling you how your jobs are going to be displaced, it is for each and every employee to first do a self-assessment. First,
Hmm.
in their given role, how do they see technology disrupting their given roles? So I tell them, just take three yardsticks. Are you doing a job which is repetitive in nature?
Hmm.
Second, are you doing a job which follows a set of principles and logics? Right? Third, are you doing a job which is taking information in one form and putting the output in a third form?
Hmm.
Right? So, if your job is heavily dependent, if you were to measure it on these three parameters, and if you see your job which is more than 70% in all these three parameters, you're going to be replaced very soon.
Hmm.
Any job which is repetitive, which follows a set of principles, I even tell my chartered accountants, if you're just doing the vouching jobs and you're putting it in the balance sheet, it's a matter of time before you may be a lawyer. But if you're just making briefs, all those jobs which follow a set of principles are going to get replaced, whether it
Hmm.
is today, whether it is after a year. So I don't talk about the timelines, but they are going to be there as and when these AI technologies become more reliable, and
Yeah.
we have figured out the legal aspects surrounding them. So first assessment should be done by employees before the organization start doing it. You do your own self-skilling. Today,
Hmm.
use technology. Today, you have so much of things available on the internet. You have free courseware. You got all the books that you want. You don't have to go to a library. So see that part. Do your self-assessment. Now, coming to organizations, see, organizations uh, would also follow those same three principles. Those jobs which are going to be repetitive, follow a set of logic, and they're just working on information data and you're just processing it, those are all going to get replaced.
Mm,
Jobs which are heavily dependent on human decision making. Okay, currently, given the state of technology, uh, that level of automation, that level five AI is still way off.
mm,
But any job where you are relying on your human capabilities, your human decision making, you are trying to not see today's scenario, going to see 5 years down the line. So those jobs, if you are therein, just learn how you can use technology for assisting you. So
mm,
those jobs will always be there. Third, which I tell my people is, see, while this technology is coming in, it is giving you more job opportunities and more options to be as a job choice. So for reskilling, if you find that your job is highly vulnerable to these changes, join a course which
mm,
would be, and you have the knowledge, learn any courses which the technology application in that area. For example, if you're a chartered accountant or accountant, try to take up a course where you learn how technology can be integrated in accounting functions and finance functions, for example. If you're
right.
an HR professional, learn how technology can be used in your own function. So those kind of skilling, if we are able to do it, your jobs will be secure.
Yeah.
Uh, Learn technology. Now, today, technology learning, it's pretty easy.
Mm,
Don't be scared of technology. Actually, you should be excited about technology. It's going to actually be giving you more returns. It's going to be giving you more avenues for career growth, advancement. So be excited about it. And organizations, obviously, they're doing their bits and pieces. Not only bits and pieces, they've actually mapped out where what is their technology landscape for the next 4 or 5 years, what kind of
mm,
technologies they're going to bring in, what kind of automation is going to happen on the manufacturing lines, what kind of MES systems are going to be in place. So organizations are aware about their technology maps or roadmaps. Now employees have to just do a simple matching. Where do they figure in this scheme of companies?
mm.
So rather than just waiting for companies to do it, take your own step and tell the company, listen, hi, I can do this piece of technology for you. So that's how I see. So
Yeah.
this is not a debate. Even when 40 years back, when PCs came in, personal
Right.
computers, that was the same debate. Now
Correct.
these jobs will go down and this will not be there, but the jobs have actually exploded. Okay,
Uh,
a typist and a shorthand a person with that skills gone. Now they become data
correct.
operators. They became. So it
Correct.
is the jobs are going to get evolved, and it's not only today. After tomorrow, today's AI. Tomorrow
Correct.
it may be something else. So it's a part of life. That is what Darwin was saying: survival of the fittest. So is
Yes.
uh, the survival of technologically fit people would always survive and actually do much better. That's how I see.
Yeah. No, beautifully put. Survival of the technologically fit people, and people should be excited about technology and not really be afraid of technology. Uh, I think that's a mindset which is very difficult for people to embrace because by nature people resist change, and you know it more than anyone else, having been in this space and managed people for 4 decades. So the honest self introspection that you're talking about, I'm not sure how many people will do it, sir. That is one point. Second point is even for organizations, um, there might be sense in trying to see if I have a good guy, but it so happens that based on your 3 point framework, his job is at the risk of getting automated away, not because of him, but because of the nature of the job itself. But can I, in the meantime, maybe augment his job with technology, or maybe try and repurpose that person for a different role because he's got, the skill sets or the ability, but it cannot really be used very well in this particular job in the near future. Wouldn't that um, tech-driven repurposing of people be uh, an important strategy? You think? I mean, as a
Yeah,
people
yeah.
leader.
See, as I say in HR, there's no right answers. They're only right questions. So my book, that's the name. No right answers. It's only about right questions that we need to be asking, whether it's the organization, whether it is the employee. Uh, yes, I've seen there is a section people. They're actually highly qualified. They know their subject very well, but for some reason they have certain kind of barriers, and they feel kind of in the current jobs they may be very good, but going forward they may be how should I call their jobs would not exist. For those things, what we normally as organizations we do is while we are doing our kind of mapping, or while we are even let's leave aside technology, it is even true for companies when they decide for a given business strategy. Like in one of my previous companies, we wanted to close down our mobile division, right?
Mm.
So all those people who are working there would not be having a job after we close that division. So
Yeah.
it is not only about technology. This principle goes true for any kind of change. Whether technology is triggering that change, your business priorities making that change, or your financial or your company's vision, which is has a change. So any kind of change, it is just we talk about technology bringing in this job redundancies or
Yeah.
reskilling required. I say it is not only technology. The business is, if you have been in business, today is technology, tomorrow it will be a product line which is being changed. To a third day, it will be a new kind of product coming where your existing product is of no use to the customer. So be ready for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you never know where is the next disruption coming from.
Right.
Right. So it's a mindset for that's why when we are recruiting people, we should see whether those people come with those learning ability. Are they
Mm.
flexible to change? Are they culturally open? Are they willing to see the job beyond the given geographies where they're currently in? So the more flexible a person is, the more chances for your job's learnability is there.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely, sir, and rightly so. Last year, I remember you had given an interview where you had mentioned that digital curiosity is the new leadership superpower, right?
Mhm.
So you need to always be curious. You need to always, as you said, display learnability so that you can adapt and survive. So there is that. So yes, that brings us to the end of this conversation. Thank you so very much, Sunilji, for all of your time today and your insights over 4 decades. And of course, I would love to reconnect with you on another topic on some other day on the emotional cost of a global career, which you have spoken about just very recently, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Would love to really pick your brain on it because your career has been long, meaty, and world spanning. So I think you are probably the right person to speak about this as well. And it's important to look at that price versus price scenario
Mm.
that you've spoken about as well. So maybe that's a conversation for another day. I don't want to take any more of your time, but thank you so much once again for joining us.
Thank you, Bala.